Before we begin, it'd be best if you have watched my introductory video, or at least watch the segments I mention later in this video, as I won't be touching much about the basics for them. Note that all terms, event names, and whatnot are fan translated and may differ from the localized version of the game. I'd like to add that it's recommended that you join a guild before any of these events kick off, as the sizable portion of the event rewards will require having a guild. I will elaborate more on this later on. Introduction. The NieR Automata Collab event, The Recollection of the Dolls, a collaboration event between Sinoalis and NieR Automata. The event features a newly penned story by Yoko Taro that's entirely voiced by Ishikawa Yui, the Japanese voice actor for 2B, as well as Kawabuchi Kaori, a motion capture actress responsible for 2B's moves, who will be filling in for Buvor's lines. I highly recommend using headphones when playing through the cutscenes. Timeline. The event released on August 24th, 2017, roughly over 2 months into the game's lifespan. The event was supposed to release earlier than it should, but they ran into some issues. To compensate for the delay, we were given a free 2B. The trend of collab events giving free jobs began from this point onwards, with sometimes having a gacha variant of the same character, which is namely 2B. When the game launched in June 6, 2017, there were already placeholder banners for the event that were buried within the game. When Sinoalis was nearing its first year anniversary in June 6, 2018, Collab announced the Automata Collab event to rerun as part of the anniversary campaign. The rerun began on July 2nd, 2018, with new goodies added to this lineup. There were talks of Collab wanting to implement the new quality of life updates into global right from the get-go, but chances are that the two NieR Collab events might be adjusted to the global audience in terms of difficulty, as well as getting the new rerun content being implemented. Event structure. Logging in during the event collab period will grant you a free job, 2B Breaker. The arcana for the free job tends to be available either by event missions, medal milestones, or through the event medal exchange shop. The event type is a fusion of a medal event and an armor event. A medal event is when you farm through stages to obtain medals dropped from it and use it to exchange for goodies in the medal exchange shop. Medal shops normally have a standard offering of gems, skill gems, evolution materials for weapons, gold bags, cleaning tickets, with the occasional armor piece depending on the event, which will be included for this event. It'd be best if you can redeem 5 copies of each weapon to max limit break them for maximum medal drop rates. The multiplier will still work if you have them in your subgrid, so there's no need to fill your main grid with S weapons if you already have enough SS weapons. It will also come with a milestone system where you will be rewarded based on how many medals you've collected. This has a milestone for both solo and guild. Now this is where the guild factor comes into play. Guild milestones. Use multiplier weapons to increase the drop rate of medals, or even consider using a 2x drop potion. An armor event is when you cycle through stages to acquire armor. Armor are split into 4 parts and made for about every weapon type. A single armor event may only have up to a specific selection of weapon types. However, in this case, this event has all 8 types. A hard difficulty will also be included, giving a higher base drop rate of medals and armor pieces. Ideally, you'd want to farm on the harder stage for the highest drop rate of medals, and specific stages with the higher drop rate of the desired armor piece, which is at 5%. The character area bonuses for collab events are for collab characters only. It'd be wise to use your free 2B or any collab job you've rolled from the gacha. The enemies in this event are all fire, so it's best to make a water only weapon grid with nightmares that have water element boosting skills, such as these nightmares. The armor dropped in this event have a skill bonus of boosting water element weapons. Note that the armor's weapon affinity is specific to one weapon type. If you have all 4 pieces of the armor equipped, you'll get a set bonus of increased skill effect against machine life forms and Emil type enemies. The last stage for normal difficulty will be N12, which is around The last stage for normal difficulty is N12, which has a difficulty of 60. If you're around 60,000 stats, you should be fine on clearing the entire normal difficulty, which will contain all of the event story. As for the hard difficulty, it will go up to H12, which has a difficulty of 125. If you're around 125,000 stats, you should be fine, but to be safe, maybe 140,000 would be best, because hard and above difficulties tend to not be so lenient with their difficulty numbers. And past hard difficulty, we have EX. This difficulty was implemented on the rerun. Honestly, I doubt Pokédabo will want to include this on the initial run, since this would be whale territory if it's implemented way too early into the game's life cycle. Rerun new content. The rerun brought in a raid, a real treat for the Automata players, an Emil raid! The event is aptly named the Experimental Weapons Resolve. A raid event is where you defeat waves of nightmares to reach the boss nightmare. In this case, we're facing up against Emil's split body. Raid events only pop up in a certain time for 30 minutes. You'll want to confirm the schedule in the in-game announcements once the event runs. The event features a drop of the featured boss nightmare. The drop will be a touch higher in higher difficulty stages, and raids are supposed to be challenging PvE content, so it'd be wise to be properly geared and maybe call in a few people to go in with you. There's a co-op channel on the unofficial Signalis Discord where you can add players to your friend list and raid together. Since raid content is of a higher difficulty, players that have been playing diligently for a few months would have a better time at clearing it. If Pokédabo was intending on implementing this at the get-go for global, I have a feeling that they might adjust the difficulty. Gacha Contents. First off, we'll be looking at the jobs. As for the gacha jobs, we have 2B Crusher, 9S Paladin, A2 Breaker, Emil Cleric. And these are the following weapons that are available within the gacha. Now to suggest the rolling amount for sparking and whatnot. If you're gunning for the Arcana, roll in 50s. One Arcana costs 500 gacha medals. Arcanas are very important in stats growth. As they'll increase the cap of a job level, they can only be obtained by a gacha medal exchange or during a special campaign where they'll be sold for 5,000 yen or maybe 300 gems in the item shop. However, collab jobs have not yet received this treatment, so you've only got this one chance while the event is running. If you're just gunning for the job alone, you will need to have at least 4,500 gems to roll 150 times. By doing so, you'll amass 1,500 gacha medals, which will be enough to redeem one job. Event progression and prep recap. 1. Assemble a grid of water weapons and nightmares with water element boosting skills. 2. Clear up to the highest difficulty you can manage. It'll be the point where you'll come back to farm for medals. If you really can't clear a specific difficulty, don't bother wasting your AP, and just go down a notch till you have gained more stats or weapons. 3. Once you've gotten enough medals, redeem the S multiplier from the shop and claim more copies of it to max limit break. 4. Roll the gacha if you want, as S weapons have a much higher multiplier rate than an S weapon. 5. Gather armor pieces of the weapon type you have the most weapons for and level them. Introduction. A Dream Gone Missing, a collaboration event between Alice and NieR Replicant. This event story features a newly penned story by the newly assembled NieR Scenario team, composed of 5 people, who were recruited from a scenario staff hiring notice sent out by Square Enix in September of 2017. I believe this event story marks the scenario team's first release work, and when I mean released, the team is also working on NieR Reincarnation as well as NieR Replicant version 1.22, which could have started earlier behind closed doors. That being said, the team was well chosen and the event story did not disappoint at all. Timeline. The event released on February 21st of 2019. The event has rerun in JP as part of the game's 3rd anniversary campaign. Event structure. Logging in during the event period will grant you a free job. Young NieR counts as a collab character, so use him when you do the event to watch the cutscenes in its entirety. Using a non-designated character may grant you the ability to see a different kind of cutscene. This event is a reskin medal event where you'll gather new shooting tickets instead of medals. These tickets will have the same milestones as the medal ones, in addition to the ability to use them as currency to roll the new shooting gacha. This gacha is your loot box for the event. Roll a designated amount of tickets to get a chance at winning the displayed prizes. It basically replaces the medal exchange shop for another form of RNG's hell. Note that multiplier weapons is also a thing in these events as well. Prizes are split into several grades, which have a differing roll rate due to their rarity. From top to bottom: Special Prize, First Prize, Second Prize, and Miss. There will be a special prize section called Today's Special. These are special prizes available in limited quantity, meaning that it has a daily quota. This includes gems and weapon skill gems. It'd be wise to gather as much tickets as you can so that you can roll out all of the gems. Should you roll any special prize, you will obtain affiliated guild special prize points. Yes, this is where the guild factor comes into play. Since there will be guild milestones for tickets, This is yet another milestone for hitting special prizes. This milestone too has similar prizes of gems and so on. The pool here is about the same as the typical medal exchange shop lineup. You have the event nightmare, the multiplier weapons, materials, and so on. The enemies in this event are all water, so it's best to make a wind-only weapon grid with nightmares that have wind element boosting skills. The armor drop in this event has a skill bonus of boosting wind element weapons with a set bonus of increased effect against shades, which are all the NieR Replicant enemies. As always, gather up the armor pieces of the desired weapon type, level and evolve them to have an added advantage in the more difficult stages. The highest stage for normal mode is N12, which has a difficulty of 48. If you're around 48,000 power, you should be fine clearing all the normal stages and experiencing the entire event story. The last stage of hard difficulty is H6, which has a difficulty of 150. Since this is hard difficulty, I think it'd be wise to be at least above 150,000 in terms of power to be able to clear this. But of course, you could always do co-op by hopping into other players' rooms and pray that the run will succeed. H6 will give the most ticket drop rate. Character strengthening. More details about character strengthening in my introductory video. Character strengthening for NieR Replicant collab jobs were added for the rerun on JP. Compared to characters like Alice, collab characters get a much smaller dumbed down strengthening tree. It's basically like a balance tree, but with one exception: the addition of a ticket rate up node. In other collab characters from a medal event, it'll be a medal rate up node instead. This node acts as another multiplier for ticket or medal drop rates. Note that this will only come into effect once you've unlocked the node and equipped the job you unlocked the node for. Otherwise, this multiplier won't come into effect. The materials needed to unlock these nodes are calendar rewards for clearing event stages, while the Book of Purifications are only obtained from rolling the collab gacha a specific number of times. The golden nodes are global stats, meaning it will be added to your own base stats, and you need not equip that specific job to take advantage of said stats. So choose which job wisely you want to boost if you're aiming for specific stats. Gacha Contents. One thing to note is that in the initial run of JP, the gacha banners were split into two, but as of the rerun, the banner was merged into one. The gacha banner for NieR Replicant is a step-up gacha. More information in my introductory video. Here are the following jobs solely obtainable via gacha. Kaine, Breaker. Young Emil, Mage. Devola and Popola, Cleric. King of Facade and Fyra, Paladin. Yona, Sorcerer. And we have one more little secret job, but I won't reveal it as there will be major spoilers for the event story. Stay tuned! And these are the following weapons obtainable from this gacha. Extras. Paid content, Adolescent NieR Job Pack. This pack costs 3,000 yen, which will most likely cost about $30 US for global. It contains one job, which is Adolescent NieR Sorcerer, and its job weapon, Grimoire Wise, and 300 gems. The level 1 and 2 arcanas for this job is available via the item shop that sells the arcana separately with double EXP, gold, and drop potions. Each arcana pack sells for 300 gems. This is the only way of acquiring arcanas for Adolescent NieR. Event progression and prep recap. 1. Assemble a grid of wind weapons and nightmares with wind element boosting skills. 2. Clear up to the highest difficulty you can manage. It'll be the point where you'll come back to farm for medals. If you really can't clear a specific difficulty, Don't bother wasting your AP and just go down a notch till you have gained more stats or weapons. 3. Limit break the weapons for maximum medal drop rate. 4. Roll the gacha if you want, as weapons have much higher multiplier rates than as weapons. 5. Gather armor pieces of the weapon type you have the most weapons for and level them. Closing thoughts. A very friendly reminder that Sinoalis has job and weapon stories for everything. Collab related stuff gets their own too. There are some story events in the game that will also have weapons related to it, having 1 or 2 tearful tales to tell. We now know that the collab will commence roughly 2 weeks post-launch, which frankly is kind of cutting it close in terms of player progression in the game. I have a feeling that Pokelabo might adjust the content to better fit your players. After all, the game has gotten so much quality of life updates, as well as more and more bonuses for new players, that it should be fairly easy to gain lots of stats quick. Event progression, besides special events, will be about the same as Japan. Seeing as the Drakengard 3 collab is the only other Yokotaro related collab left as of now, Global might get it earlier than scheduled to cash in on the Yokoverse fans. May RNGesus smile upon your rolls. It's been 3 whole years since the game has launched on JP. I've been following it since the very start of the game, and boy oh boy, it's such a treat to see how far it's come. Finally, we have a global release, and now we have more people around the world joining us. I hope that you would give Sinoalis a chance, and that you would open a lending ear to its dark and twisted tales. Please, enjoy the rest of the ride. Thank you for watching my guide. Good luck for the event, and have fun! Bye bye!